So today I'm going to break down how I made my beat for the Kenny Beats semifinals. The first thing I did was I took the sample and I made the intro for it. To make the intro, I took this part of the sample, which is the last bit, put some reverb, delay, and then I put this delay on it, and then I messed with the time on the delay to get this sound right here. The next thing I did was I added these 3 sounds right here. So the first one is this guy, which is a pad that I made, and then I did the same delay effect that I did on here. I did the same thing here. I did that, recorded the automation, and then I froze it. And then I also have this pad here that I made from my friend's voice. I took his voice and I put it in a pad, and I think that's the only thing I did to it. I don't know if I reversed it. I might have. Either way, I kind of like gradually made the volume come up so that it would lead into the beginning of the beat. For the main part of the beat, I had this progression here. And then with that progression, what I did was I took this patch that I made, this massive patch, I think it's just a sine wave, and I froze it and I pitched it up, but I have both of them. So you kind of like get both the textures of like the top end of the pitched up version and then the body of the regular version. The next thing that I did was I took the patch that I made with my friend's voice and I played something else with it that matched this progression. I took these 3 tracks and then I grouped them and I put Portal on it, this plugin right here. What I would do is I would resample myself messing around with it. So I would take like a random patch, say, I don't know, let's just take this one here. I would take this patch and I would solo this, and then I would create a new track and I would resample, and then I would record into it like this. And then I would take little bits and pieces of it, say like I just wanted this part here, and I just wanted it to go like that. So, oops, camera fell for a second. So yeah, that's what I did with these 3 audio files here. And I kind of just threw them in as garnishes, or kind of like ornaments to the beat. I also have this sound here that I made a while ago, and I kind of just like took the beginning of it. The whole thing is like a bass thing, but I also have this violin patch, this melody. And it looks like I didn't do anything to it. I didn't even EQ it or anything. I just had it as is. And then I have this sound here, which I recorded on my Zoom, which is this guy right here, which I'm using to record what you're hearing right now. A friend was in town and I took him to the driving range, and yeah, that was just me hitting a golf ball. And then there's also the sound here, which is a flute sound, but I kind of put a delay on it. The next sound I have is this patch this sound from Umru. Looks like I didn't do anything to it. I just threw it in and panned it to the right. The next thing I have is, I believe this is the violin sound. I resampled it and I did something to it. I'm not exactly sure, but whatever it is, I re-recorded it. I put some reverb on it, and then also this plugin here, Sketch Cassette. And then the last sound I have in this group is this Texas sound. A patch I took when I was trying to imitate James Ivy. The song he has called Texas. There's like really cool like synth sounds in the background of the song, and I was trying to like recreate those sounds, and this is what this sounds like. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy sound. I took all of those sounds that I just talked about and I put them in a group, and then I sidechained them to the kick. So that entire section is being sidechained to the kick. The next thing I have here is this texture, which is just, I think, my friend talking. and I just used it as ambience as well as this sound right here.
Yeah, I'm just more focused on like actually the beat.
Which I was just at a party with my Zoom and I just had it on in my pocket, and yeah. Here's the bass sound too. And it's pretty simple. It's just a sine wave with the amp going on, and then our bass. And then this here, I don't think is even being used because I have it at 0. So it's not even using that. If I were to turn it up, crazy sound. And I should have used it, but I think I wasn't thinking about it because I didn't have a whole lot of time. Next, I have the drums. The drums, I do a whole lot of like layering of sounds. A lot of these drums come from actually other drum loops that I made, and I kind of just like spliced them together, took kicks from this sound, snares from this loop, and I kind of just put them together, and this is what they sound like. What I like to do is I also like to add like these little textural sounds. So I have this paper thing and then this moon chant thing. I got it from, I think it's in a Beaster sound pack. It's a really cool sound. And so yeah, that's the drums. And then I just have like a bunch of random sounds. These are the snares, some other sounds. And these are all just sounds that I took from other ideas that I've made, and I like to balance out my drum tracks a lot, so I can recycle them. And then what I did for the structure is I duplicated it a few times so that the drums and everything that I talked about is pretty much the same. And then I had this pad that comes in later. And then I also threw in this violin melody. So I had that come in around the second time the loop happens, just to give it a little bit of variety. And in the middle of this section coming out, I have this part here where the drums cut out, and a bunch of the other elements also get cut out. And I thought I did that just to give it some variety. And then I also have this really cool patch that I made from copying a Flume song called Friends. And I was trying to recreate the main synth track that was in it. And this is what this sounds like. It looks like I played something and then I bounced it into audio and then I moved stuff around. It does that until this section here. And this section here, everything is the same as before, except I took out the drums, and the bass is not, instead of doing the rhythmic thing, it's just holding down whole notes. And then, yeah, the last thing I have is this outro. So for the outro, I just played this thing on the piano right here. And the sound is the Imagiro piano combined with the Wolno piano. I just put them together onto the same instrument rack and had the MIDI trigger them both. And then I took that same MIDI and I put it into this instrument, which is called the Panos instrument, just because I had stole it from this producer named Alexander Panos. And the way I did it was I took the rate of an arpeggiator and I mapped it to an LFO. The main sound is an east-west strings pluck sound. So I have that pluck sound being triggered by this arpeggiator, which the rate is being messed with this LFO, which is set to random. And that sounds like this. I know another way to get this sound is you can, if you're resampling in Ableton, you can do this, and then you can record it into another audio track. So if you're recording another audio track that's resampling that audio file or that audio track, then you can, also take the audio and mess with it that way. And the last thing that happens is in the outro, just to give it a little bit more variety at the very end, I balanced out the piano track, and just for the last 2 chords, I took that piece of audio and I pitched it up an octave. So in addition to the original audio, it's also playing this pitched up version, which sounds like this. So yeah, that's how I made my beat for the Kenny Beats semifinals. Unfortunately, when I was making it, I was trying to submit and I couldn't figure out the website, or something just wasn't working for me on the website. I couldn't find the place to submit it, even though I was signed in and everything. But I'm grateful that I even got the opportunity to compete in it anyways. And I had a couple people asking me to break it down, so I thought I'd break it down for you guys. So yeah, have a good day, and I hope you enjoyed.